Hello guys, welcome back. Today I am building a clubhouse in The Sims 4. So I've titled this video Motorcycle Clubhouse, but I'm sure you're all aware you can't actually get motorbikes in The Sims 4. You can get cycle bikes, but it's not really, they're not cycle bike club or motorcycle club. The motorcycle club sounds better, so that's why I've called it a motorcycle club. Obviously, you can't actually use motorcycles in this game, so it's more of like a fictional clubhouse. But I figured with, I can't remember the expansion pack, I think it's Get Together. You can make like your own different clubs and your own little groups of Sims. So it could be a fun build for that. And basically, the way this build works is with the new with the new Sims 4 for rent, you can build basically apartment blocks and you can have communal spaces in those apartment blocks. So what you're going to get with this build is very much like, it's almost like a communal area, and then you've just got bedrooms off to the sides of each of those areas. So when you rent an apartment in this building, all you're renting is a single bedroom, and then the rest of it is just a shared space, which is actually really fun from a gameplay point of view, because you'll constantly have Sims walking around a lot, interacting with different areas. So there might be someone playing on the table tennis table, could be someone watching TV in the living room, all that kind of thing. What you will notice with the aesthetic of this build is it's almost like it's based on a New York City tower block, not tower block, sorry, but a New York City street block. I think it's one that you'd probably more or less find not so much in Manhattan, but in the kind of other boroughs. I think it's Queens maybe, or possibly like Brooklyn as well. Quite similar kind of aesthetic to those. Obviously it's got my twist on it, and also this is like it's been built up on over time. When I do these kind of like apartment blocks to make them look authentic, like when you see like an old apartment block in most cities these days, often it will be connected to another building that might be of a newer style or might be built before the building, so depending on which one was built first. So there's a couple of different styles going on. Essentially the main block itself though is where you'll be doing most of the gameplay. The kind of extensions that are quite clearly visible because the main block itself is brickwork. Obviously the building on the left, which is kind of more like a warehouse industrial style, is just I guess you call it like mortar, or yeah, it's just like a, I don't know, a basic finish really, that kind of like cream building. But essentially the idea is that at one point this building was an office block used by like a publishing company. So the interior itself kind of resemble, like the layout hasn't really changed much, but these bikers or this group of people have moved in, and now the building is suited towards their needs, but they haven't really changed the layout too much. It'll kind of make more sense once you see the kind of build of the apartment. So yeah, so there's 6 bedrooms basically in this whole complex, and then you've got like a main living room, kitchen, dining area, and you've also got like a games room. You have a gym, and then probably my favourite part of this whole building is actually on the ground floor in the entrance is a bar or like a clubhouse. So in that bar, it's a bar basically, but there's also like a stage area, so you can like practice music. Your Sims can have a party down there. It's just a good place to have, especially because it's an apartment. You're not paying for that space. You might be paying for it a little bit in terms of rental, but for the most part, like you don't have to pay for the furniture there. You're just renting a bedroom upstairs, but that space is always available. There is also a basement in this build, which has basically I wanted that to be a place where you could grow plants. So I thought it'd be cool to have like a underground growing area. Now what you grow down there, isn't my business. You can grow whatever you like, but it looks a bit suspicious. But obviously in The Sims you can't grow anything dodgy, so it's just purely a place where you can put plants. But yeah, just starting off, you'll see like the right now we're just building the bar area that I spoke about earlier. So you've got some like traditional like booth seating. Well, I say booth seating, it's more like bench seating, however you want to call it. And then I used a bar that came with werewolves. I just liked the neon lights on it. I thought it looked quite cool, and I thought it was it looked quite run down as well. And like this building isn't supposed to be like completely run down, but it's supposed to look kind of like these people have moved in and they're not going to spend any money on it. They're just going to live in it, really. Like they might do a bit of repairs here and there, but they're definitely not in the they're definitely not interested in doing like a full overhaul to make this place really like a homely place to be. It's sort of just a fit for purpose, pretty rugged, pretty dependable place, but it's kind of, I wouldn't call it well finished. Like the place is finished, but it's not like the finishing touches. Like there's obviously a lot of work that needs to be done to make it a desirable place to live, I'd say. But maybe if that's your aesthetic, like especially if your sim has the traits of like slob, lazy, kleptomaniac, this is probably like the perfect place for them to have their first apartment. And maybe like it's a good place for them to network and meet other sims and fulfill their needs quite easily, really. So the layout of this apartment is actually loosely based off another fictional apartment in a video game called Grand Theft Auto 4. So if you haven't noticed on my other videos, I like not everything I build is based on GTA buildings, but I do get a lot of inspiration from like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption. I just like the way that those buildings look, and they translate quite well into The Sims because it's also a video game. Yeah, so getting back to the point of Grand Theft Auto 4 that I was making, if you've ever played Grand Theft Auto 4, there was a downloadable content called The Lost and Damned. This is loosely based off the Clubhouse that features in that game. So essentially you play one of the characters, the character that you play as is a member of a motorcycle club called The Lost and Damned. And basically pretty much throughout the entire story of the game, you live in a clubhouse, and it's very similar to what I've built here. So I just thought it would be a cool, like with the for rent pack, it actually just sounded like a really cool idea. So I decided to make it. But what I don't want to do is recreate it like for like, just because you're never going to be able to recreate the Lost and Damned clubhouse from GTA 4 in this game. Really like for like, because and you probably could do it if you downloaded the right mods. But I like this. The reason I like The Sims is because it has its own aesthetic, and I don't want to recreate something, but I like taking a lot of inspiration from certain builds. Some builds I may build, they're just from my mind. And obviously, like, if you ever played that game, you'll know that part of the club, that you can't see all of the clubhouse. So some of this I've had to make up as well. Like this basement garden area that you see me build definitely isn't a feature in the game of the original clubhouse. But this basement actually ended up being a cool area because I could put like the water heater there. In the UK, I think we call it like a boiler. But for some reason in Sims it's called a water heater. If it is what most people call it, I wasn't aware of that. I've always called it a boiler. But because there is a water heater in this build, there's also radiators pretty much in all of the communal rooms. But I didn't put them in the bedrooms, just because there was no need to really. And there's also a place where you can kind of make nectar. I thought it would be pretty cool. Like, I thought it quite a realistic thing to do. I just thought the more activities you have in this build, the better, really. There isn't enough space to put a stable, and I didn't really want to put a stable in here either, just because realistically, like, what biker clubhouse do you know of that would have a stable? I don't really know any. But I guess if it's a criminal biker house, they might have a basement with like a meth lab in it or something like that. Not that you'd ever be able to do that in The Sims 4, and it's not something I want them to bring to The Sims 4 either. They really don't need to do that, and I can't imagine they ever would. But this kind of like basement has that kind of aesthetic, at least, or that kind of vibe, that it is a meth lab. But obviously it's not. It's just a basement with some activities in it, mainly surrounded by around gardening. But it's just, it's a good place to have, especially if you are making nectar as well. You do need a place. I don't know if you need a place to grow plants, but it helps out a lot because you can kind of be a bit more self-sufficient, and it saves you a bit of money, I think. I'm talking like I played The Sims 4. I can't even remember what pack the nectar came with, but I'm talking like, it sounds like I've played The Sims 4 Horse Ranch a lot and like built a nectar business in The Sims 4. I've never done it, but I'm just assuming that the gardening plays probably a big part of that if you want to run an efficient business. But yeah, there's a lot of the items in this pack actually. It comes from the werewolves pack, just because there's so many well-used items in that pack. And what I mean by well-used is not that loads of people use them, but for example, those chairs on those desks, they're nice and like run down. They look like they've been well used by other Sims, put it that way, and they just fit the theme really well. Same with like the lighting, the fans, and yeah. But yeah, go back into the bar area where I was talking about this being like a GTA 4 inspired build. That kind of like front entrance is pretty much the same layout as the Lost and Damned Clubhouse. Like you walk through the front door of that clubhouse, you have like a little hallway, passageway. Then there's another door to the right that leads you then into a bar area. And that bar has a stage on it, but that stage is closed off by some fencing, some gates, whatever you want to call it. And I think the reason, I believe there's actually places in the world where the stages are fenced off, and it's normally because if there's people having a lot to drink, they can get quite rowdy, and they could probably, it's just to prevent people going onto the stage that aren't performers. That's what I think it's for. Like, I can't think of another reason why a stage would be fenced off like that. But it's a very small stage area anyway, so it's not like they're going to be like, it's not, yeah, like it doesn't really matter that you've got that stage, that fence blocking your performance view, and it won't affect the Sims either. Like they'll still be able to watch performers on the stage. It's purely just an aesthetic detail, so that's pretty cool. So one of the things you can see me building now, originally when I built this was going to be the kitchen for the lot, and basically I was going to make the kitchen look like it used to be a like a takeaway place, like somewhere like a takeaway counter. But then it didn't look very good when I'd done it like that, so I decided to delete most of what's in the kitchen, and now it's just an empty, basically communal room. But there is a what's supposed to be a walk-in fridge, and also next to that walk-in fridge is the only downstairs bathroom. So if you need a bathroom downstairs, you've got one accessible. But I figured like you probably won't spend that much time actually on the ground floor in this building if you are doing gameplay. But there is one bedroom that you can rent on the ground floor, which is essentially like an old storeroom, which is, that room that I'm focused on now that you can see this bed going in, this is the only bedroom on the ground floor. And this is basically another feature of the Lost and Damned Clubhouse. The character you play as Johnny, he basically sleeps in an old cupboard in the clubhouse. So I thought it's pretty cool to bring that over to The Sims, now that you can do that with full rent. And the cool thing is, because this is literally like just one room, the cost to rent this room in-game as a Sim, I think it's like less than 50 simoleons a month, which is, well, if all you want is a bed, and then you don't mind sharing a bathroom, you don't mind sharing a kitchen, then really what more do you need? But yeah, you can see like, just before we jump to this room, you could see like that takeaway counter that I was talking about. Obviously the shutters are down. It's not going to be used as a takeaway counter, but it used to be a takeaway counter, and I hope I've just the choices I've made in terms of furnishing and design give it that kind of aesthetic that it used to be one. So yeah, that's that floor done. The next floor we are looking at is the games room. So, and also we're just doing some more bathrooms. So all the none of the bedrooms have their own en-suites. Every bedroom that you can rent in this build has a shared bathroom. There's one bathroom on each floor. There is also, so yeah, there's one bathroom on each floor except the roof access floor. But on the roof access floor there is actually a bedroom, which is tucked away right at the top, right in the, basically in the fire exit, which is the cheapest apartment that you can rent. I think it's nine simoleons to rent that, which is like nothing in this game. So I thought that was like, yeah, it's a place that you can rent if you want. It's not a nice apartment, but it's not supposed to be either. But here you can see I'm just doing the kitchen. So originally I struggled with the kitchen a bit because the room itself that I'm building the kitchen in, it doesn't really look like it's designed for a kitchen. So what I did instead is I put like this, I forget the name of them, breeze blocks, like concrete blocks, just as a wall, and it just looks like someone's quickly put up a wall there just to segregate the kitchen. maybe a building inspector came around and they said that the kitchen has to be in its own room, it's not fire safe otherwise. So they quickly whacked this wall together, and they just never painted it, they never finished it. It's like a half done job. And then also next to the kitchen, obviously you've got the dining room. But you'd also, I think a biker clubhouse, you wouldn't just use this as a dining room, it'd be like a place for meetings, talking about club life, whatever bikers do really. I've never experienced anything to do with bikers, to be honest, other than playing that Grand Theft Auto game that I was talking about. But yeah, this is just, it's quite a nice dining room. Like it serves it's functional. So this is the bedroom that I was talking about on the top floor where the roof access is. Very basic bedroom, but yeah, not one that I'd personally want to stay in. I even used a bar window from, when I say bar window, I mean like they're literally like almost like prison bars that came with Horse Ranch for the stables. Unfortunately, I don't have it in the build video, but if you download the lot, you will see that, and you'll probably see it in the screenshots at the end as well. Just working on the gym now as well. The gym basically is on the second floor. Below the gym is actually just an empty space. I haven't used it for anything, but the facade of that empty space on the street level is actually some closed stores. So in the screenshots at the start of the video in the intro, you might have seen like there were some shop fronts with the gates closed across, and that was done deliberately because I didn't want to have anything in this lot that's going to distract your Sims. Like if I built a fake shop interior when they're doing things like cooking, if I put like a counter in that shop interior, they might start preparing the food in the kitchen, then they finish preparing the food all the way downstairs in that fake shop interior, and it just becomes like a nuisance when you're using this place for gameplay. So I tried to make it just the key areas that you'd actually need for this build. But I thought like a biker clubhouse would have a gym, or at least if it's like a central clubhouse, like one of the main ones, they probably have a gym. And then yeah, just put in the games table. I feel like that's where they probably play like card games. There's not like a pool table. I'd love it if there was pool tables in this game, because I definitely would have put a pool table there. But table tennis works as well. Kind of gives the same vibe. And yeah, just adding some like grungy areas, like some grimy bits here, there, and everywhere. I don't really show the bedrooms, the actual apartments themselves being built, because literally all that's in them is a bed and a wardrobe. And that was done deliberately because this is purely for gameplay. So if you download the lot, you can pretty much do what you want with those spaces. But off the back, you can at least have somewhere to sleep, and you have a wardrobe. But yeah, like when you're playing this game as well, like you're only going to be living in one of those apartments at a time, so it doesn't really matter, because in that regard you won't see what's in the other apartments anyway most of the time. So I figured like the less furniture in them the better, just so it'll make the lot run smoother when you download it, and it'll make the rent cheaper to start with, so that you can actually build your Sims lives around the apartment rather than the apartment being pre-built and kind of guiding your Sim on how they should probably live. Whereas if it's an empty apartment, you can just build what's right for them straight away. So you can see just adding the radiators in. The room that I'm adding the radiators in currently, or that was the shared living area. Some of the footage got cut out for this video. Wasn't deliberate, but sometimes it just happens. If you've ever used OBS, it's very easy to click record and stop record at the same time. And what that means is you'll end up recording your screen when you don't want to record it, and you miss recording it when you do want to record it. Pretty hard to explain unless you've seen OBS, but if you ever do make videos yourself, that's one of the things I've done when building this video, so I apologise for that. If you do make your own Sims videos as well and you are watching this, let me know in the comments. Link your channel, or just comment saying I build videos too. I'd love to watch other people's builds, get to know some other people that build in the community as well, just because it's a lot of fun, like just hanging out with people that also build Sims builds, and even if you don't make videos for them, just shout out if you enjoy the videos, or if you don't like the videos, or if you think, or if you have any ideas as well, like if you have a build suggestion, yeah, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to build, like I like building anything really, so just let me know what you want to build or want me to build, and I can have a go at building it for you. Obviously there's limitations in the game. I can't build a tower like the Empire State, or I can't build well, yeah, I sort of can build castles now. I haven't downloaded the castle pack just because I'm not inspired by any castles that I've seen at the moment to build one. And I can't think of how I'd build a castle off the top of my head. I'd have to do a bit of research into castle design. But yeah, apart from that, we are drawing up now to the end of the video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and please like, comment and subscribe. And yeah, we're about to just go into the screenshot. So I will see you all in the next video. Take it easy.